So Harry and his friends have set off to solve another mystery, only this time the film really like leans in. It's like a proper whodunit, like a Agatha Christie style, right? So what are some of the classic murder mystery tropes in Chamber of Secrets, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they follow every clue, everything that they hear, and they're not letting go of the tale, right? And I think some of the cinematography I thought lend itself well. So at one point we see Lucius Malfoy, and he's got that light bar that goes across his eyes.
Oh.
And that reminded me a lot of like film noir, which is a lot about murder mystery and like detective
Like
work.
the PIs, yeah.
Yeah. There's that scene where we get a flashback of like Dumbledore with Tom Riddle. That's in black and white. So a lot of film noir elements.
I really like the idea of they are kind of literally on the trail of, because they're hearing the voices, they're seeing the spiders. Like there are all these different clues that I think we can't make add up at this point, but we're trying to pull them all together. And that feels like proper detective. Like you almost want the board of strings to like connect all of the dots.
Right.
I feel like Hermione would very much have made one of those. She would be like the crazy, the meme. Like,
the meme with the poster board.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think this is like her... She's the one who's like kind of leading the detective energy on this.
Yeah, and I think then Harry takes that on, right? Because she gets petrified and then she can't participate anymore. So I think at that point they've like picked up on what she's doing and are trying to like continue that. Yeah, they just decide to continue what she had started.
Yeah. I really love the idea as well of all of the Harry Potter films having their own like subgenre.
That's right.
Because like you have this action adventure one of Philosopher's Stone, then you have this murder mystery, the second one. The third one definitely leads into horror. You have like werewolves, etc. And I feel like, you know, like Goblet of Fire, you could argue is like kind of like a sport.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it totally is like a sport or like a game movie.
Yeah.
Like they're going
Quidditch, and then there's the trial.
There's challenges, and then they have to.
Yeah, I feel like there is an argument for all of them having a specific subgenre.
Yeah,
which I love. Do you think the fact that Harry can speak Parseltongue is just actually a bit of a red herring in this?
Yeah, I think because it alludes to him perhaps being the heir and all that.
Because do people in the school really think that Harry would be the heir of Slytherin?
Possibly, yeah.
Like, it's wild to me that they were like, he's the savior of the wizarding world. Oh no, he's probably really evil.
Right. It's true. And his parents are not that. So maybe they have some folks in the camp of thinking that he is the heir, and then some folks who are like, there's no way. His parents were not part of Slytherin. They weren't like that.
But also, I don't know if if you're suspicious of someone, you're not necessarily thinking about their parents.
Right.
You're just thinking about what you know of them. And Harry, in the first one, literally like saved the Philosopher's Stone. Dumbledore says at the end of Philosopher's Stone, what happened down there with Quirrell is a complete secret, so naturally the whole school knows. So they all know that Harry's done something heroic. So why would he immediately go and do something
not heroic?
Yeah. I feel like obviously the onus is much more. I would be so with them and being like, it's Draco.
Absolutely. Anyone in Slytherin.
Yeah.
I would suspect. I'd be like...
Anyone in Slytherin.
Yeah, I'd be like looking at them. You know? Yeah, Draco or Snape, any one of those guys.
But also, I feel, although Lockhart is technically a Ravenclaw, I feel like he would admit to the crime just for like a bit more attention.
Anything for attention. Yeah, any attention, whether bad or good, is what he's after.
He'll take it.
Yeah, he'll take it. And he'll spin it some way.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Okay, I really hope that you've been studying because it is time for a bit of trivia.
All right, let's go.
Are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be. I do get performance anxiety with quizzes, but let's see how I do.
You'll be absolutely fine. What style of clothing was Lucius Malfoy's original costume? Was it A, an emerald green robe? Was it B, a pinstripe suit? Or was it C, a mink coat?
I want to say pinstripe suit.
You would be correct.
Yes. Amazing.
Because I feel like that's that really kind of formal, like just quite businessman-like flair. Whereas actually he just brings this whole other dreamy world.
The cloaks and the... amazing.
What injury does Harry walk away with after that really normal, definitely not cursed Quidditch match?
With a rubber arm.
Yeah?
Yeah. No bones.
No bones. Broken arm, missing
He still
bones.
has his arm.
Yeah.
He loses something. He doesn't actually gain anything.
That's true. And what exact object is Hermione found with after being petrified by the basilisk?
There's a round mirror. And I guess you could say the scrumpled up paper from the book.
That's true, which we don't
that
find out
count?
until later.
Right.
But yes, absolutely. Very good. I also really love that the hand mirror is basically, instead of like a magnifying glass.
I know.
You know, like a
It's just a circular
detective. Yeah, but it's
with nothing
same
else
thing.
to hold it. Yeah,
love it.
interesting.
very good. 10 points to Hufflepuff.
Yes.
If any of you out there want to try your hand at trivia, then visit harrypotter.com/quiz to test your knowledge. We've come to the best bit of the podcast, which is the trolley appearing with all of the sweets. I'm going to reward you for your hottest take
Okay.
with something sweet from the trolley. So what have you got for me?
I think it's a pretty hot take.
Okay.
I think Harry should have bought Ron a new wand. Why didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, 100% agree.
Right? He's got money. I feel like Ron, I mean, in the end, it was fine that he had a broken wand because it saved them. But I do think that if he, as a good friend, you know, even just as a Christmas present or so, I guess you would have to go with Ron to Diagon Alley to get it.
Yeah, that's true. That's hard.
But like, hey, Ron, I'm going to get you a new wand. Let's go. And like, get you something that
or at
is
least be like, in the
actually
summer
working.
holidays.
Yeah, right. Something like that.
Do you think Ron would have been too proud to accept it, though?
I do, yes. Okay, so the Weasleys, they don't like charity.
No.
That's totally fine. But I think that Ron, as Harry's friend, you know, is growing and learning, and maybe he's going to grow out of it, or he should grow out of it at least. And I think Harry could do it in a way where maybe it doesn't feel so bad. And I think Ron should know that it's just not very helpful to have a broken wand when you're studying magic.
But also, there's a bit where McGonagall is just like, you need to get that wand fixed. And I'm like, you bought Harry a Nimbus 2000 and he
Also.
was rich.
Yeah,
You know the Weasleys don't have loads of money. You could have helped out at this point.
absolutely.
Or Dumbledore. Dumbledore has the Elder Wand. Actually, no, I disagree with this. This is not on Harry. This is on the adults.
I agree.
Dumbledore has the Elder Wand, which we know can fix other wands.
Yeah, you make a really good point. I mean, yes, absolutely. This is on the teachers. If they could work it out where they can, they're teachers. They want their students to learn. Like if they have a broken wand, it's not going to help them.
Or up to the Ministry of Magic. You know, so maybe this is a government issue. Maybe it's a council
Right.
issue. Maybe it's about, you know, making sure that underfunded families get, you know, the
Right,
things they
something.
need, the
Yeah.
supplies they need for school.
And maybe then they'll have to accept it. Like the Weasleys will have to be like, sorry, it's out of our hands.
Yes, exactly. But I do think you raise a really interesting point about Harry's wealth.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really share it much.
Right. And he's getting gifts all the time.
Yes.
So
it's like
he's
famous
time-
people getting like free things.
Free things, which, yeah, Lockhart gets all the time. Harry gets all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's time that he gives a little back. Yeah.